Hi, I'm Paul Cunnington. I am a student of the mind. I'm also a guide and a mentor and a coach, but I am always going to be, for the rest of my life, a student of the mind. Has anyone ever asked you what the mind looks like? When I was asked it many years ago, I didn't have a clue. I thought maybe it was my brain, the shape of my brain, but I didn't really know. And we need a picture of our minds because we think in pictures. If I was to ask you about your house or your car or your dog or, you know, anything like that, your kitchen, your fridge, straight away pictures pop into your mind of those things. So having an image really helps us. And this is the image I was shown to represent the mind. And this was actually developed by a guy called Dr Thurman Fleet. And someone showed my coach, and they showed me, and now I'm showing you. And the top circle represents, in the top half, your conscious mind, your thinking mind. The bottom half is your subconscious mind, and which is kind of like your operating system. And then you have your body, and your body actions the instructions that come from your mind. Before we carry on with this stick person, let's go back to our little life. And in our little life, we are just watching everything like this sparkly little person, great eyes, and we don't miss anything. We watch it all and we take it all in. Everything that people say, everything they do, what they're wearing, everything, behaviors, attitudes, even social media, even little babies, you know what they're like. They'll be on these little machines, they'll start pressing buttons. I think it used to be ignition keys were the one that you'd love to have, but now you don't leave your phone around because they'll grab them and they watch everything. You'll see them sometimes, to help children so they're not making too much noise. They're given a screen to look at perhaps when they're in a restaurant with their family. And they're quite happy to be tapping away. So there's all sorts of information that's pouring into our minds in our little life. And there's no filters. We just accept, we just soak it all up. Whatever it is we hear, see, and we just take it all in. And by the time we've reached five, maybe 6 or 7, those programmings have been installed. And the interesting thing was, and for me, this was a big shock. I never realized this, but that programming is then how we will see things through that filter for the rest of our lives. And we will, that's it. Probably many people, if they're not starting to ask the questions that you're asking, and the reason you must be asking them is because if you weren't, you wouldn't be coming and looking at this night now. But they will just live the rest of their lives within those programs. I find that personally quite scary, and most people live that way. So let's go back to the stick person, where we have the conscious, the subconscious, and the body. Now, the conscious is also known as the intellectual part of your mind, the thinking part of your mind. It's where all your ideas come from, your innovations, your imagination your imagination is operative throughout your nervous system actually, but anyway, I digress. Then you have the emotional part of your mind, your feeling, your subconscious mind. This is where most of your habits are stored. This is where a lot of your it's like the engine room for all the automation, the things you do without thinking, and is placed, and where your emotions and your feelings come from. Now, you may have heard me mention before that everything is energy, including us. Absolutely everything is energy. So that means everything is vibrating and it's on a frequency all the time. I mean, if you think about it, have you ever been somewhere, maybe a restaurant or a holiday, and you go into the hotel and you think, wow, I really like the feel of this place. I really like the vibe. Or perhaps you meet someone and there's something about them and you think, something's not clicking here. There's just something doesn't feel right. I don't like the vibration I'm getting. No, I don't want to take this any further. Have you ever done that? So this energy is coming through us all the time. This is the purple arrows you see at the top. And when it comes through our bodies, it just is. It's passing through us all the time. It just is. It's not positively charged energy. It's not negatively charged. It just is. And it comes into our conscious mind, and we have ideas. We have thoughts. We have all sorts of things because we have an amazing mind. We actually have an infinite mind, and I'll talk about that more on another video. I'll make a note of that now. Infinite mind. I mean, just to touch on that for a second, have you ever thought of something and then you can't think of an answer, but you go away, maybe you have a shower or you sleep on it or what have you, and then the answer just pops into your head? Because we think best, we innovate best when we're calm. And what happens is that question has come into the physical world, into your mind, and then your mind has taken that and it's churned away and it will pop out with an answer. That's not a fluke. That is how your mind works. You can do that all the time. So the top half is your conscious mind. Your bottom half is your subconscious. Now, when the ideas are passed from your conscious mind down to your subconscious mind is holding all your feelings. It's holding all your habitual patterns. If it means that you've got programming that is really, really helpful and really going to serve the ideas that you've got, and you've got this sort of, yeah, we can do this, even if we don't succeed at first, we can do this, then that's how you're going to feel and how you're going to send down the message to your body. And if you have limiting beliefs and you've got a lot of programming where people have said in the past to you, you wouldn't be any good at that. You shouldn't do that. You should just do this. Do what we've done before. Stick with the crowd. Just do what you know. Do what we've already told you. Then you're going to have this thought, this feeling of, yeah, I'm sure it's a great idea, but I can't really see this working. And that is the type of charge, the negative charge, the limiting belief that's attached to the idea, and then that's sent down to your body. And then you take the action. But if it's negative, your action's going to be maybe half-hearted. Maybe you don't take any action at all. How many times have you thought about doing something and then somehow this invisible force just stops you? You know you want to do it, but you just don't. And then that action has a reaction, and whether your feelings have charged that idea in a good or bad way depends on the sort of reaction you get from that action. So every action has an equal and opposite reaction. We already know that. And this is why sometimes many of us find ourselves in our lives where we I guess we can't become conscious. We stop and we're saying to ourselves, look, I don't I don't feel right. I'm doing okay, but I'm doing things that I don't really want to do. I don't really feel this is me. I feel like I'm almost being somebody else. And everything that's happening and everything you're feeling is a direct mirror of everything that you're doing. Once you start to understand this image of your mind and how it starts to work, you understand how it works. The responsibility is all ours. It's not for us to blame all of the information that we received when we were little. The people who raised us and the people that were around us, they were programmed with the programs they were given, and they didn't know any different. They did their best for us. So you can forget going into blame, because that is victim mode, and you'll just stay there. So now you have some information to understand if this programming is serving you or not. Now it's our responsibility to decide what we're going to do about it. So the intellectual mind, the conscious mind, is also connected to the five senses: see, smell, taste, touch, hear. Now, although these senses are really, really useful, these senses are made for the physical world. I mean, have you ever seen something and it's literally like a mirage, or you look at something from a certain direction and then you look at it from another direction, it's completely different. Or you smell something, it smells like one thing, or you taste something, or you touch something and it feels like one thing, and if you hear something, it sounds like something, but it's something else. These things are there just to support us for what we're doing in the physical world. It's there to help us go around and do what we need to do. But that's it. That's all the senses are there for. What we also have are what we call faculties. And these faculties are linked more to our spiritual being, more to the fact that we have an infinite mind. We are not like animals and plants. You know, a seed goes in the ground, or an animal is born, and certainly with animals, within seconds, sometimes they're running around doing what they need to do, or they might get eaten. And plants, an acorn knows it's an acorn. It knows it's going to grow into an oak tree. It just is. It knows. There's no choice. But we're the only beings in this world that can choose, and we can use these special faculties. And I'm going to talk about these faculties a lot more in a later video, but I'm just going to touch on them slightly now. So we have a will. Now, will, together with discipline, isn't something that it's not force. It's something where we take this programming and we're going to replace it in the same way it went in, through repetition. When you were little, you heard your name over and over again. You heard words over and over again. This is how you learnt a language. We wake up speaking the language or languages of our country, but we don't think about how we learnt them. We just learnt them. It all happened in our subconscious as a habit, through repetition, over and over and over again. Now, if we've got something that's not serving us, then a program, a paradigm that's not serving us, then we need to replace it. We can't just try and get rid of it, because it will leave a space, and if we don't replace it with a habit that does serve us, then it will be replaced with just another bad habit. So the will and discipline is where we start to learn to use this ability to make promises to ourselves that we can actually keep, and we start to learn to trust ourselves again. Because at the moment we're just trusting the habitual messages, the stories that we're hearing all the time. And these stories are things that we will say and we won't even realize. So there's the will. Intuition. If you think and get in touch with your intuition, all the time you get feelings about things where you might say to yourself, I think I should do this. But again, the habits override it. But you have this wonderful power of intuition. You have perception, how we view things. You can, have you ever known somebody who you respect and you look at a particular challenge, a problem, a question, and you can't find the answer, and then you say to yourself, now, how would so-and-so look at this? And you think about their personality, think about how they behaved. And all of a sudden you can say to yourself, well, I know what they would have said. They would have said blah, 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 blah. Just go and do it, or whatever it is. So you can learn to teach yourself how to look at things in a different perception. Your memory. Memory, I was told when they were running down this list with me, they said, now your memory's perfect. And I remember thinking to myself, well, if my memory's perfect, why can I never remember where my ignition keys are? Why am I always leaving them around the house? But your memory is perfect. Now, one of the things we do with memory is we go back into our past. And I'll talk again about living in the past and worrying about the future on another video. I'll make a note of that. So our mind tries to say to us that we have to be perfect. It tries to say to us that every time we make a mistake, a failure, that we shouldn't do that again. And our memory is presently telling us over and over and over again all the things that we got wrong, all the mistakes that we've made, why we should never try things in the future because we'll just look stupid and we'll get it wrong again. And we keep rerunning that from our past. And we need to use our memory in the correct way. We need to sort of let go and understand that we will be reminded of things when we need to. Our memory is perfect. We don't need to keep thinking to ourselves, I mustn't forget, I mustn't do that wrong again, I mustn't do that. We learn to let go and trust that our memory will tell us things as and when we need it. We don't have to try and retain all this stuff and beat ourselves over the head with it. Then we have our imagination. Imagination is, like all of these, imagination has two sides. There's a law called the law of polarity, opposing polarity. And I'll mention that on a video as well. I've made a note of that too, so I'm not going to go into that too much. But obviously, you can imagine some amazing things. And you can imagine things, particularly the future. You can worry about the future, and you can imagine all sorts of stuff that you think is going to happen. You can also imagine some amazing things and come up with some great ideas and find amazing ways to solve problems, to do things that haven't been done before. So we need to constantly use our imagination and use it in the right way. And reason. Reason is brilliant, because particularly when you're learning to install the new habits by repetition as well, there'll be a lot of stuff that keep coming up in your mind. And reason works really well with awareness, where you can say to yourself, hang on a minute, this stuff that I'm thinking, this stuff that's holding me back, this program is, wait a minute, is that true? Is that actually true? You almost write it down and say, and look at it on a piece of paper and say, is that true? And then you consciously think about it and you say, well, no, that's not true. So reason, again, is an amazing tool within the list of faculties within your mind. And I'm going to share with you how to use these tools and how to replace the programs that aren't serving you. Now, when we look at how to replace the programs that aren't serving you, and I'm going to do that on another video because we're going to link that to goals. Because when I was first explained this, I thought, well, how do I know what habits are serving me and what habits aren't serving me? Well, straight away, if you think about your purpose, what you really want to do, and we'll go through the exercise of how you get to that, then straight away you're able to start saying to yourself, now, is this helping me get there? Is this thought serving me or not serving me? Is it stopping me from getting there? But there's also a lot of habits and programming linked to your personal self, what we call your self-image. And I'll go into that on another video as well. So your self-image is linked to how you see your best self, the self that is operating with the goal that you've achieved, and then the next goal and the next goal and the next goal, because we always need a challenge. Some people think that, you know, if you had like £1 million or whatever it is, 10 million maybe, then you don't have any problems anymore. You don't have any challenges. You will always have problems and challenges. Once you understand how your mind works, you realize that we are made to live that way. We're made to overcome things. We're made to be constantly given challenges. It's just how we look at them. That's what changes. And if you had a lot of money, you would just have different challenges. Perhaps they might even be bigger challenges. But you will still have challenges. And you will still have to have habits that serve you in what you want to do with your life purpose. So all I wanted to cover today was what our mind looked like and the compartments of our mind and how they functioned. Touch on some of the other things that I'm now going to be going into on other videos, so you can keep, putting the dots together. And I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it helpful. If you feel that you would like support from me or someone, anyone, doesn't matter who, it can be so helpful to have a coach, to have someone to act as an observer. An observer is something that you can learn to do yourself eventually, because everything is all inside of you. You have amazing powers. But if you feel you need a guide, then get in touch with me and I will do my very best. I'll be honored to help you in showing how you can switch on these amazing powers and find that flow in your life and find harmony through discipline and being able to let go, to surrender, to find where you're in a place where you have much less anxiety in your life and you're able to do so many amazing things that you were sent here to this place, this our time on earth to do. Anyway, that's it for me today. I hope you found it interesting, and I'll be sharing a lot more videos, and please don't be afraid to get in touch and drop me a line, and I'd be happy to just chat and see where you're at and go from there. Okay, this is Paul Cunnington. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.